we would like to welcome Serge Timacheff, a lifelong fencer, a photojournalist, and Absolute Fencing Gear marketing advisor. Hello, Serge. Welcome on Side by Side channel and screen. We love having you over. We want to have an introduction about you first.
Well, I work with Absolute Fencing Gear, and I've been with them for about 10 years, helping them with all of their marketing, creative branding work as one of the major equipment suppliers to the world of fencing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And we're happy to have Absolute Fencing Gear as a strategic partner with Side by Side Sports. So can you give us a brief on the history of Absolute and their success and what they're looking into? And I've seen one of your videos with Gary about the evolution of technology. And I think we just run smoothly through that because what we're doing right now is a part of the evolution of technology as well.
Well, Absolute has been around for a long time in fencing, and I think anyone who's been to a NAC or a national championship in the U.S. has seen their big booth there for many, many, many years. And Amanda, who started it, is a well-known person within the world of fencing, is a fencer herself. And her son, Gary, who's the president of the company, of course, was a two-time All-American fencer with Penn State. And, when he was old enough in his 20s, he joined the company with his mom, and they then began the legacy, which is now Absolute. When we had the Budapest, they've always been international. They've always sold their equipment around the world, but the United States has been the big focus. And then when we had the Budapest World Championships, I want to say maybe in 2010, not the one last year, but the one before that, Gary made a lot of connections and inroads with other countries and world fencing, and Absolute embarked on an effort to have to do sponsorships and to provide equipment and to have a presence at a lot of world events. And so over the last decade, Absolute has become really a leading manufacturer, not just in the United States but worldwide. And so they've now sponsored many and been the official equipment provider to many world events, including the Wuxi Senior World Championships year before last, and a number of other major events, including Grand Prix and others. So, with more than 1,000 products that they offer, they have and being able to have a large contained inventory that they can access instantly, they've really become a powerhouse in world fencing from the standpoint of a dedicated manufacturer and equipment supplier.
And also, in addition to these accomplishments of tournaments and events, like you said, nationally and internationally, their camps, they've been running camps also nationally and internationally.
Yes, so Absolute has sponsored a number of events. They have camps that they've run in various places, including China. They have been very popular, very well attended. They have sponsored a college tournament in China where we've had teams of collegiate fencers coming from countries like Hungary and China and the U.S. And so there have been a lot of activities like that they have become involved with and become a sponsor of, and either or running the actual event and hosting it themselves, or being an equipment supplier.
Excellent. And how do you see this blending with the online right now, with the virtual meetings and the online practices and their partnership with Side by Side?
Well, I think that Absolutely. We're interested in how the world of fencing is evolving.
Mhm.
And right now, I think what's become very obvious to people with the COVID-19 pandemic is how social media and how virtual connections are so essential and so important,
Mhm.
right? And so I think for Absolute, um, it's important for us to partner with strategic allies that are complementing what we do so that we can have sort of a symbiotic relationship where we provide something to people who are making innovative inroads in social media, and and then they in turn help us by uh, providing more publicity
Mhm.
and more exposure for our products and our services. So I think that those kinds of relationships are right now are very there are many of them are in the formative stage in social media, because I think with this pandemic, there's been so much activity. You look at Zoom meetings and all the things that are going on YouTube, and
Mhm.
these are becoming really important. And where and certainly social media wasn't just a novelty before this; it was obviously very big and very important. But I think that the pandemic has served to really leapfrog virtual activities and the value of the associated partnerships with them, such as side by side with Absolute,
Mhm.
and that creates, like I said, it's a symbiotic relationship. The symbiotic relationship being something where the effect of the combined parties is greater than they could have individually.
Absolutely, and I think with this partnership, this sky is the limit, because we're looking into putting a future event where we're having continental qualifications, and building and reaching out to fencers at home more, and actually make them fence, and see referees, and see people that they haven't met for a few months, or even meet their friends or neighbors, or as well as teaching them fencing through the monitors and through the screens, where I don't think that a fencer who's 8 or 9 years old had the opportunity to meet an Olympic referee, for example. So this is something that we're looking to put together one more time, and even make it stronger, with your help and support.
Well,
Go ahead.
I there's two things here.
Mhm.
I Absolute and side by side in their own right, I
Mhm.
think of as being visionary.
Mhm.
Gary is certainly a visionary leader within the world of fencing equipment,
Mhm.
and 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 you and what you're doing and what side by side is doing is visionary. So what is visionary? Visionary is the being visionary is the ability to see something that is an opportunity or a change that is advantageous to the good of a community, and then being able to articulate that and pull people along with it who might not have seen it.
Mhm.
So right now, you might say, well, what's an online tournament,
Mhm.
right? But an online tournament is in fact very compelling and very innovative and very visionary, because
Mhm.
there are many people out there who are still saying, well, what's an online tournament? How am I
Mhm.
going to fence somebody over a computer, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But you have taken that to the next level and saying, you know what, we have this vision, and we're gonna show you what an online tournament is and how it's going to work, and we're going to
Mhm.
establish rules, and we're going to establish how it will work,
Mhm.
and we're going to share it with you, and you'll get to experience it. Because once people experience things, they can see how great they are,
Mhm.
right? I mean, and sometimes it takes that, and to become involved in something before you really understand how great it is.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of social media and a lot of innovative activities going on in social media. I mean, before you'd say, well, how can you have a cocktail party
Mhm.
with on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
But people are doing this every day, right? They're
You're right.
saying, let's get my group of friends together. We'll all have a glass of wine, and we're going to sit down at 7 o'clock on
Uh-huh.
Friday night. We're going to hang out.
Uh-huh.
And 2 years ago, that would have sounded ridiculous.
You're
But
absolutely
now,
right.
but
Yeah.
now it's something everybody's doing to stay connected.
Mhm.
And so it's imperative, and it's the onus is on the visionary whether it's you or it's Gary or it's us, is to take that vision and to present it in a compelling way that lets people try it, and then they learn by their own experience how great it is. And I think that that's the stage where we are right now. And when God willing, we come out of this pandemic, I think that we're going to be in a better place.
And of course, with the encouragement of leaders like Gary with Absolute Fencing Gear, him offering his help and him offering the hand of support, where he's going to give gifts to the winners and prizes to fencers from all over the world. It's not just one country or one nation. It's the encouragement of fencers who literally learned fencing online with Zoom and side by side, and then participated in a tournament, and then now qualifying to reach one and meeting other fencers. So all that gifts and treats are very supportive for fencers and young ones, that to encourage them to want to become fencers when all of this is over.
And if I might say something about fencing in general right now in the pandemic,
yes,
and some of you may know me in other roles in fencing, and I won't get into that. But what I will say is that I've recently written something that people will see pretty soon about why this is actually a good time for fencing. And fencing is a naturally social distancing sport. What have coaches been saying to fencers on the piste for eons? They've been saying, keep your distance, right? and every fencer that goes out on the strip looks like they're either doing beekeeping or ready to go into a hazmat facility, right? And so fencing is actually very well suited for the trials and tribulations of the pandemic right now. And there's lots of parents out there who are saying, well, gee, I don't want to put my child into taekwondo or basketball or football or soccer or even an activity like drama, because they're going to be coming into a lot of physical contact with other people, and that's not really a good thing right now. Fencing, on the other hand, is all about distancing, right? The second you touch another fencer, it stops the action. So we're fencing. One of my statements recently is that we may look back in 20 years and say, that pandemic was awful, but it may have been the best thing that ever happened to fencing. And this type of a partnership and this type of an activity where we're looking in an innovative, visionary way at what we can do with fencing during this period is exactly what we need to step forward and step up and create a very compelling message, not only for our existing fencers, but to expand further to fencing, to potential fencers and to newcomers and to new fans and new athletes and new coaches and people who never even imagined or thought about this sport or have never even heard of it in some cases.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And having that partnership as well puts together a great group of people, where the Absolute Fencing team and ambassadors are part of this project, where they will start presenting to the whole world and representing Absolute and their partnership with Side by Side. And little fencers that are fans of those team members and Olympians and Olympic medalists see them, encourage them to be healthy and to be safe at home in front of the screens and participate in the tournament as well.
Right. And Absolute, in addition to the other things that I had mentioned before, sponsors elite athletes. And we have a cadre of Olympians, including from the United States, from Venezuela, from Tunisia. And we have sponsored these athletes, and they are going to be working with us and helping in this area to provide an even more compelling message and a tone of athletic leadership for people out there who can hook onto something and to someone who has done amazing things in their lives and then is sharing it with this community.
Absolutely. And people keep on asking why we're doing this, why we're putting together these Zoom classes A lot of whys have been asked, and community service is the answer. Paying forward is an answer. Putting our hands together in this crisis or pandemic or difficult times, because I see a lot of clubs shutting down. I see a lot of coaches going back to their homes. I see difficult times and the struggle in a lot of posts on social media. So through social media and through Facebook and through YouTube, we're giving a hand to everybody to welcome everybody to join the team, to support and also give back to the community and service.
Right. Well, you know, you're a typical fencing master is not a fencing master because he or she is a technology expert,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so social media to a lot of fencing coaches is kind of a new thing, and so it by having people in the community such as Side by Side who are taking technology and helping with that, you know, again, it's that visionary thing where you're taking people who haven't spent the time doing that, they've been focused on other things like
Mm-hmm.
the mastery of fencing, and then combining them into something even greater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and also right now you just opened that subject where we are willing to give the hand to any master or coach or fencing community member that would like to use our platform. We're willing to support and see how we can share our ideas and channel with them and with their fencers and students as well. So that's part of.
Right. Well, and you know, I think what we're seeing is that we're a bigger community than just a bunch of fencers, a bunch of athletes. You know, we've got people who are specialists in armory. We have people who are specialists in teaching and coaching fencing. We have people who are specialists in physical training.
Mm-hmm.
We have people who are specialists in cross training and we, you know, we sports psychology. You know, we have all these different walks of life that all have the common denominator of fencing, but they're all quite a bit different. And of course, when a small sport becomes a big sport or a bigger sport, that's what happens is people start to specialize. Not everybody is a jack of all trades. Just like we don't have too many fencers who go out there and will compete in all three weapons. Well, there's a few veterans who do that,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, it used to be 75 years ago, it was not uncommon to have at the Olympic Games somebody who would compete in like foil and épée, right? That's not really the case anymore. People are very specialized, and as a sport becomes bigger, it becomes more specialized. And so, you know, that's what we're doing here is capitalizing on and leveraging our strengths and our abilities and skills in a way that supports the sport that we all love and the people out there, such as coaches, with something new and interesting and important for them that helps get us through a difficult period and then helps kind of get us to that next level as a world and Olympic sport.
So, Serge, by saying that, because this exactly is our aim and vision, what would you say to fencing community members as fencers, coaches, parents, not just locally in our city or town or state, nationally and internationally, to join Side by Side with their partners, Absolute Fencing Gear?
Well, I think right now everybody's looking for a way to stay connected and to stay active in the sport. And this is a great reason why. I mean, the different options, the different activities, the different events that are being presented now through Side by Side and sponsored by Absolute provide new and interesting ways to really keep fencing alive, to keep it exciting, and to take it to another level. And I think that it's interactive, and you've got a lot of kids who are at home. They may not be going to school. You've got a lot of parents who are thinking, "Oh my gosh, school's starting in September, and my child is still going to be at home. So what can I do to keep them active other than the schoolwork they're doing?" These kind of activities are just the most compelling option, one of the most compelling options to be able to do that affordably, easily, and without changing any of the infrastructure they already have. They don't have to buy more equipment. They don't have to go and get more training. They can just say, here's something to do. And yes, you're going to be sitting in front of a computer, but guess what? You're going to be active.
Correct. And I am really looking forward to working with you, Serge, on just reaching out to every not just athlete or member or youth and even adults to learn more about fencing and reach every house and make them become a fencers at their own homes. So
Yes. Well, kudos to you for figuring out how to do that, because and I think the way that you've structured your online tournaments is brilliant. The way you have rules of engagement, rules for judging and refereeing, and how you score and how you win, and I think and then how you award the winners. It's all very new and fresh and innovative and fun. And in the end, I remember Cody Mattern when I was fencing actively. I remember I had some tournament I was in and I didn't do very well and I was upset about it. And Cody had been doing a little coaching with me, and I was just kind of down and out about it. And he came over to me and he goes, Serge, he goes, you have to remember something. We fence because we enjoy it. We fence because we like doing what we do. It's all fun. We're not fencing because it's we're having to do a task that is tedious and boring. We're in fencing because we like it. And so this is a way to help kids enjoy this sport in a new and interesting way.
And like you said, working with the team like the one I'm working with and putting this together, and I give them kudos as well because of being initiative. And like Cody would say, you're enjoying, we're not doing it because it's a task. Some of us have other professions, some of us has morning job, some of us just do it because they want to. They literally free themselves to and dedicate some time to go back to fencing. Sometimes people change career. Sometimes people they retire and become fencers or retire and become armorers, and they think of it as a hobby, not just as a profession or a must do. They're doing it because they want to do it.
Right. And a lot of this is reflected in the staff that we have at Absolute, and we have a very interesting group of people who are at Absolute. We have people who are armorers, as I mentioned that earlier. We have people who speak Russian. We have people who speak Spanish. We have people who speak Chinese. We have people who speak many languages and can help people around the world. So we have a huge warehouse with, like I said earlier, with all of these products that we can just, we don't, when somebody calls in and places an order or goes online and places an order, we don't then place another order to fulfill that. We go out into the warehouse and we pull that product and we ship it out often the same day. So we have this ability, because we've been around such a long time and we've built such a large inventory, that we can fulfill things very quickly and very professionally. It might not be like Amazon where you order something and it's at your door an hour later, but but we're certainly fast, and that is very important to people. And it's helped people a lot of times, and we've built a staff and a team that is capable of doing a lot to support our fencing community.
And definitely because of your professionalism and because of your speed, that's why we're partners together. Because with the speed that we're moving forward, we just want to reach people faster. We want to reach people at home. We want to provide the gifts and make the winners receive their gifts on time. So it's being accessible and being professional and being fast. So thank you for that. I really thank you as the Absolute Fencing team for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I would like to thank Serge Timacheff for his introduction for the partnership between Absolute Fencing Gear and Side by Side Sports. Thank you so much.